Hello my dear YouTuber friends, and I do hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video. It's been a few years now since Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, let's give it its proper name now, has been released for the PC, and a couple of years since the Xbox release. There's been a slew of controllers released for both systems over the years. So in this video I'm going to give you my up-to-date buying guide for both Xbox and PC platforms. So your sort of budget end range of peripherals, my recommendations, the mid-range and the high, the expensive, the sort of money's no object range for both platforms. What I'm going to do as well, I'm going to try and link all the reference videos and playlists and Amazon links down below for you in the description. It's going to give me quite a lot of work this, but I'm going to try and reference them all down for you, or put them all down for you in the description, in case you want to take a closer look, actually buy the peripherals and controllers for yourself. Okay, let's not dilly-dally. Let's get on with this video. So as you find me flying over the Toronto area in Flight Sim, very murky and misty looking Toronto area, let's concentrate first on the Xbox range of controllers and peripherals. Let's first go with the low end, the budget end of peripherals. You've got the Hotas One, you've got the Velocity One FlightStick, and you've also got the Airbus Thrustmaster Hotas setup. I own a couple of these. Let's first concentrate on the Hotas One. Very configurable controller. You can detach the throttle and flight stick and have them on either end of your desk if you wish. You've got a rocker on the front of the throttle system which you can use as rudder if you want, or even trim depending on your own preference. The flight stick itself has a nice fluid motion to it and a twist action as well, and many buttons that you can set for many different functions in the sim. A lot of people in our group flights use the Hotas One, and it's still one of my favourite Hotas systems. That costs around about £90 currently on Amazon. Let's concentrate on the Velocity One FlightStick next. This has actually a trim wheel, which is very unusual on these types of flight sticks. So it's nice to see, and when it works very well indeed. It's also got a little sort of FMD display screen that you can do many setups with the actual stick, changing the colour, changing the profiles, that type of thing. Like I said, I'm going to link all the reference videos and playlists down below for you in the description, in case you want to know more. It's also got, like the Hotas One, many buttons you can set up. Some people don't get along with the Velocity One flight stick. They find it a little bit too stiff, especially coming from the Hotas One. So you really have to estimate that before you buy it. Do you think you'll get along with it? Go and watch a number of reviews and then make your decision. I prefer to use the Velocity One flight stick over the Hotas One. You can just set up a lot more sort of autopilot functions with it, I find, with ease, and it's a lot more configurable in the sim. Well, that's my opinion, and I prefer that stiffness of the stick, but other people have different preferences. And then we come to the Airbus Thrustmaster Hotas setup. Oh, by the way, the Velocity One flight stick will cost you currently about £120 on Amazon. The Airbus Thrustmaster Hotas setup. It's something I don't own. Now, you can either buy just the actual stick itself, And it does have a couple of sliders you can use for your throttle and goodness knows what. That costs around £100 currently on Amazon. Or you can buy it with a throttle quadrant, and that will set you back about £133. So still very much in that budget range. It's not something I've tried. If I was going to buy a Hotas setup, so a separate throttle and stick setup, and that's my preference way of flying, if that was, this will probably be the system that I would be most considering. I don't own it. If anybody does, let us know how you find it. I know people do have that setup and are big fans of it. But yeah, as you can see, it's got a good number of buttons. If you buy the throttle quadrant with it, then you've got all kinds of setups that you can do with both the throttle and stick. And if you like flying Airbus, of course, I would say this is a must to go with. So there you go. Those are the budget end of on the Xbox platform. If you're just using the gamepad currently, you're really missing out on half the immersion with the sim, and I would recommend at least going with one of these flight sticks or Hotas setups. Okay, let's now go to the mid-range controllers for the Xbox platform. So let's now go to the mid-range set of options. So you've got a bit more money to spend on the Xbox platform. Couple of options here. You've either got the Velocity One Flight Yoke system, or you've even got the Thrustmaster TCA Boeing Yoke. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. Let's first concentrate on the Velocity One Flight Yoke. It's a complete flight yoke system. So you get the yoke and you get the throttle quadrant included, including one of the best trim wheels on the market, full stop. Lots of configurable buttons. Another thing you do get with this are a couple of triggers on the back of the yoke handles, and they work fantastically as rudders, so you don't even need to buy a separate pair of rudder pedals with this flight yoke system. It really is an all-in-one inclusive system. Very configurable, the buttons. I mean, go and check one of my videos where I showed you all kinds of autopilot functions that you can set up on the Velocity One Flight Yoke system. For this mid-price range, it's still my absolute recommendation, the Velocity One Flight Yoke system. Many people have it, many people own it, and many people are happy to have it and fly with it on a daily basis. That costs around £299–300 currently on Amazon. You might be able to get it a little bit cheaper elsewhere. Okay, now let's turn our attention. There's another contender in this mid-range price range. It's the Thrustmaster TCA Boeing Yoke. Now you can get just the yoke itself for around £269 currently on Amazon. Does have a couple of sliders that you can use for throttles, so you could get away with that. Or you can go with the yoke combo and throttle quadrant combo, which I'll link down below in the Amazon links. It's going to cost around £386 currently on Amazon, so it's still within that mid-range price point. It's not something I've used. Lots of people do own it. Something I am kind of interesting. I just have enough yokes and flight controllers. I've got to be careful of how much I do buy, simply because of storage space at the moment. But it looks mightily good, especially if you enjoy flying the Boeing aircraft. And you can fly this with things like the Cessnas, like I'm flying here at the moment. Like I said, it's not something I've used, so people who do own it, let us know down below how you're getting along with it. But it's another consideration. If you do buy that, you're really going to have to buy, to get the ultimate immersion, a set of rudder pedals. Now apparently you can use the Thrustmaster rudder pedals, which are a cheaper pair of rudder pedals you can get currently. I'll link the Amazon links to that down below as well. That's sub £100, so you can put a pair of them with it. But that's going to bump the price up. So there you go. Those are my mid-range controller recommendations. Now let's go to the high end, the expensive range. So we've discussed the budget end, we've discussed the mid-range options. Now let's talk about the high end. Money is no issue for you, you've got the money to spend. But there's only one real viable option currently at the time of recording this on Xbox in the high-end range. That's the Honeycomb suite. So that includes the Honeycomb XPC Yoke, the Bravo throttle quadrant, and if you want a set of rudder pedals and you want to keep it all synced to Honeycomb, that's going to be the Charlie rudder pedals. Now the Honeycomb XPC Yoke, one of the finest yokes within that price range that you can use. I use it on a daily basis. It's only meant, when I put it on my desk, it was only meant to be there on a temporary basis, but I've enjoyed it so much. It's fluid, very, very fluid, very responsive, and it just feels fantastic to use in the hand and fantastic to fly with. Heavily recommended. I don't own the Bravo throttle quadrant, I'm using a Logitech throttle quadrant. But if we're looking at the high end, money's no option. You want to buy the Honeycomb Bravo throttle quadrant. It's even got some autopilot functionality built in there, so you know your things like heading mode, nav mode, and approach mode buttons that you can use, and you've got knobs that you can play with there on the throttle quadrant as well. Well, for the Honeycomb XPC, it's going to cost you around £318 currently on Amazon. For the Bravo throttle quadrant, I've just taken a look, that's going to cost around £246 currently on Amazon. So that's going to be around £564 for just the XPC Yoke and Bravo throttle quadrant. If you want the full immersion, you're going to need really a set of rudder pedals with that setup. You want to keep it synced to Honeycomb. You're going to be looking at the Honeycomb Charlie rudder pedals. They're going to set you back another £300 roughly. You'll be looking roughly at £800 to £900 for the whole Honeycomb setup. But let me tell you, there's no finer setup that you can use currently for the Xbox platform. So if money really isn't an issue for you, this is the setup to go for. So there you go, we've discussed the low end, the budget range, the mid range and the high end range of controllers for Xbox. Let's now do the same for the PC. So as we're flying around, again a very murky looking area, this is San Fran this time. Let's now talk about the PC range of options, so your budget range, mid-range and high-end range of controllers. Let's start on the budget side first. It's going to be similar somewhat to the Xbox. So, for example, the Velocity One FlightStick will fit into that budget range. But we're talking about PC here. Anything goes. I bought a £20 flight stick some time ago and I made videos. Those are linked down below for you again in the description about setting up a £20 flight stick from years ago, from eons ago. You can set them up. Flight Sim may not detect it and you'll have to set the controls up, but very durable. So if you've got a very, very limited budget, just buy a very cheap flight controller, flight stick, and you can go and use that with no issues. But my ultimate budget recommendation for the PC is the Logitech Flight Yoke systems. Now, these are the videos that made my channel popular in the first place, and it was my first yoke that I ever bought before Microsoft Flight Sim even released, and I've never regretted it. You get the yoke system, you get an incredible throttle quadrant with a load of buttons that you can set up. Mine's very fluid, still something I like to use from time to time even though I've got these higher range systems. Absolutely recommended if you're looking at getting into a yoke for the PC. You've got Microsoft Flight Sim on PC, you want a yoke system, you don't have a big budget. It's my most recommended budget system, the Logitech Flight Yoke system. Buy that, and I can just say that you're not going to regret it. That's costing roughly about £127. I've just looked on Amazon at the moment. I've seen that from nearer the £100 mark. So around £100 for a Logitech for a Flight Yoke system. You really can't beat that. Okay, so that's the budget side covered on PC. Let's now move to the mid-range. Okay, so the mid-range range for the PC. Again, somewhat similar to the Xbox or the TCA Thrustmaster Boeing setup. Or the Velocity One Flight Yoke system, either or, both great systems and both big recommendations. But we're on PC, don't forget. So if you prefer a Hotas setup, why not treat yourself to the Warthog FlightStick and Throttle Quadrant? I've just seen this on Amazon for £355. That's a cracking deal. I'm actually very, very tempted. The Warthog is a flight stick I've wanted to buy for a long time, and you're getting the Throttle Quadrant with that. If you just want the flight stick alone, you can currently buy that for £250 on Amazon. If you like your Hotas setups, there's no finer Hotas on the market. In my opinion, now people may have different opinions on that, but it's certainly the one that I would go with. So there you go, similar somewhat to the Xbox, either the Velocity One Flight Yoke system, the Boeing setup. This time, because we're on PC, you've got that Warthog option if that's something that you're into. Beautiful weather we're getting around San Fran. I'm enjoying this flight. Okay, let's now go to the high-end range. Okay, so I hope you're sitting down for this one. The high-end range. Yes, you can go with the Honeycomb, Bravo, and XPC or Alpha Yoke, and the either Velocity One rudder pedals, or if you want to keep it all Honeycomb, go with the Honeycomb Charlie rudder pedals. Still going to cost around the same price as it does on the Xbox, about £900-ish within that price range. But because we're on PC, it's the home of specialised yokes. So if you have the money to spend, why not go out and buy a Yoko Plus yoke? Just taking a look at the price. It's only €1,195. It's about £1,100 that. It's going to be about the equivalent in dollars, 1,195. Well, maybe let's just call it $1,200 euros. And that doesn't include a set of rudder pedals, and I'm not sure it even includes a throttle quadrant. So my goodness, if you want to spend over £1,000 on a yoke system alone, go for that. But we've not finished there. Something I was tempted by, and still tempted by, if I had the money, and I was lacking sense, I would go with the Brunner force feedback yoke system. Currently, I've just looked at the price on their website, €1,249. Okay, I need a drink after that. So listen, if you're on PC and you like your expensive setups and you're proud of spending all that money on a flight yoke, go out and buy the Brunner force feedback yoke system. All kidding aside, if I had the money, I would buy that today. Now, I'm not going to dip into my savings to buy that. It's not like I don't have the money to buy it, but I prefer that kind of significant outlay in my savings rather than on another yoke system. But you never know, it may be something I will get to review on my channel with hope in the future. Okay chaps, so that's my buying guide for both Xbox and PC. Once again, budget, mid-range and high-end price ranges. Do let me know down in the comments, let other people know what setup you're rocking at the moment. I've got a mix of setups that I'm using and I'm very happy with. Let me know your thoughts on the video, give it a like if you've enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and I'll see you soon.